Hi all, Agent here, and I've got an idea. Let's fly. I'm going to play a bomber, does about 460 in test mode. Don't really see that in game a lot, but gets about 450 in game. And looks like the enemy's got 3 flak bots and a rail, so there are 4 or 5 enemies that are pretty well equipped to deal with me. They got a mortar and a shotgun, so they've also got the tools to deal with ground. But doesn't look like they have a lot of actual brawling bots based on the CPU. And you gotta have your meat on the battlefield. The meat of any team is going to be those bots that can sit on the point and just tank damage while everybody slugs it out. So we're going to play this bot to its strengths. We're going to do high-speed bombing runs, and we are going to stay fairly low and use these obstructions that we have that ground uses for protection for our own protection. It's all about line of sight. So if they can't draw a straight line to you, they can't hit you in most cases. Now and then they'll be able to get flak to trigger without an actual line of sight. But for the most part, if you can't draw a straight line from me to them, then they can't do anything. So we're going to use speed to our advantage. We're going to stay lowish. We're going to hug those rock outcroppings. It's going to be very handy later in the match. Great way to play. It gives ground cover, but as you can see, I am able to relocate and reposition myself a lot faster and more effectively than they can. So it works better for me than it does for them. It's one of the problems with this game, and its speed and its just general layout is that the cover and obstructions that were designed to break up the map and give cover from both snipers and air are more effectively used by snipers and air because of lines of sight. And there's not really a great way around that. It's a very complicated problem with balance in this game, and maps alone are not going to solve it. So anyway, we're going to hug these things. They can get some hits on me with flak, but it's not a great threat because of the just the way flak works is they have to build what's called stacks, if you're not familiar with it. And the more times it hits an opponent, the stronger it gets, which does allow for some counterplay. The old flak was kind of overpowered against air, especially slower moving aircraft like copters, but I think the flak stacks need some adjustment to be balanced. And this spot is even at the upper end of what I feel like is a balanced speed. There are bots that go 500. I've got one myself that can do 514, which is significantly faster than this one. And there are many more bots that are squishier that can go a lot faster than even that. Those bots, they can go so fast and they're so hard to hit that it doesn't really matter if they're not dealing out a lot of damage or if that they're pretty weak, because they can take enough damage to get out of the firefight and disengage before meaningful damage can be done to them. It's very effective. It's a little too effective. As you can see, we've traded some speed for some ability to take hits. Those were rarely razors pounding us, and we got back into our base pretty quick and healed up. There's been talk of changing the auto heal in the base shield as part of the balance adjustments for the speed boost. I think that's the wrong way to go. I do it once, maybe twice in this match, but it's not a crutch I use. In fact, I re-engage a lot before I have even healed up all the way or even started to heal, just because I know I can disengage again and I know I can take enough hits to not have to worry about not healing up to full health before I go back in. And I kind of have to play that way. If I don't and I take a few hits and I have to go hide, I'm just going to burn up time doing nothing but waiting, and you don't want to be doing that in this game. It's all about controlling those points, keeping the enemies off of them, which I'm also good at here. Those bots with all those flak bots and the rail, they're geared towards dealing with air, so they're naturally going to turn their attention to me instead of the ground opponents and the guys on the points. They're going to try to deal with me because that's what they're there for. That's what they're equipped for. But it's just not going to work for them. And even if we buff those weapons pretty dramatically to be able to deal with it, I'm still going to be able to do a lot of what I'm doing, and those weapons will become overpowered against anything else that is not speed boosted. So it will force a speed boost or bust meta, where if you're not using speed boost and you're in the air, then you're just going to lose, and that's that. So buffing weapons as an angle on balance is just, it's wrong, and it's very, very bad. It's a slippery slope. It causes all sorts of other balance issues, and it leads to what I call power creep, which is an actual thing. It's where you keep buffing things instead of nerfing, and you get to a point where everything is way too strong and it's completely changed the gameplay dynamics. So again, we're going to go back to what I'm doing in this match. Again, hanging low over midpoint. If you noticed earlier, my ally that has the mortar, he is able to sit on an elevated position, and he's just nuking one of those access points to mid, so that only leaves one choke point left for the enemies to funnel through to get to mid, which is what I keep bombing for the most part. And I do assist when they approach that area that guy with the mortar is just nuking. But you can see him up there. He's just lobbing mortars, and it's pretty effective. Nobody wants to drive into that. Those things are powerful. They pack a lot of damage, so he's doing what I like to call suppression. He's not necessarily doing a lot of damage. He might not post up big damage numbers, but he's still having a pretty dramatic effect on the match and how things are going to go, because he's denying the enemy's access to a certain area. It's called area denial, and it works really, really well, and in a lot of cases it's actually better than straight up killing enemies, because they'll respawn and come back a different way. But if they're stuck in a certain area and can't progress beyond that area, then they're not accomplishing anything, and that time is ticking down. We're building up more protonium crystals on our base, and they're not able to do anything except slug it out while we slowly pull ahead of them. So we're going to do a few high-speed bombing runs on their core there. We're going to take as many crystals as we can. That enemy there looks like he's going to head for our near point. I'm not entirely concerned with that. We've got allies over there. Got a few minor flak stacks coming down on me, but we are going to fly over here just to make sure he can't take that point unhindered. And there again, we've got an ally defending near. It's teamwork here. It's not me doing this by myself with this bomber. In fact, I think I only scored middle of the pack for my team. Without score doubling, some enemies might have scored higher. But in my opinion, I'm having a pretty good effect on this match myself, because I'm taking the attention of all those anti-air bots off of the ground, and they're switching over to flak, and they're trying to shoot at me instead of pushing for the point and fighting the ground bots. See, they're all kind of corralled back there. They've all been kind of corralled onto their half of the map, or less than half of the map for the vast majority of this match, save for the very beginning when they had midpoint. So we're going to pull ahead. This guy's got flak, so I want to get rid of him because he's up high and he can make life difficult for me. So I'm going to kind of swoop and swirl around, and we're going to bomb him. He's trying to hit me with the mortar, but hitting aircraft with mortar is really, really difficult. Not really suggested. He's still hanging in there. Didn't quite get him with enough splash, so we're going to fly back over and finish the job. Don't want him to heal up and get back up there and start hitting me with flak or bombarding my teammates while they take mid. So we're going to go over here. We're going to try to stop that rail from healing, but I miss. All my plasma shots got him a splash there, but looks like he got most of his heals anyway. So we're going to keep doing those high-speed bombing runs on him, keep his attention off of anything else but me, so he's not taking points and he's not using his energy to shoot at and damage my allies. I don't care about the damage. I can get away a lot easier than the ground bots can, so I don't care about that. Now, this flat guy got a few stacks on me, and it's starting to hurt. You can see how quickly it starts really ripping your bot apart, but again, it's built well, so all that did was take off our rear two props. We've got decent speed still, but we're not super fast because we lost some thrusters too. But just like that, we get some heals from an ally that's paying attention, and we're going to come back over here and we're going to deal with this guy that almost took us down and definitely drove us out of the area. We're going to go get rid of him, and he's got not enough time to do anything with that flak cannon before he's been destroyed. So, again, engaging the rail, we handily won that match. It started out a little bit sketchy with them taking mid, but we won the match. There was a little bit of insight into air versus ground balance. Not usually a pilot, but I've gotten into it lately, and it is fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.